Hi, this is Keith Cunningham. Oxygen is something we rarely think about until it's cut off, and then it rapidly becomes our highest priority. The reason is obvious. Without oxygen, life deteriorates, becomes increasingly uncomfortable, and then you die really quickly. In business, oxygen is cash and cash flow. When your cash becomes low or cash flow lurches into negative territory, your survival is dictated by how quickly and how effectively you address this problem. Delaying or minimizing the fix or hoping the cash supply lines are quickly restored and things get back to normal is a prescription for a painful death. In light of the current economic turmoil, you probably have several competing agendas and priorities. And while all these issues must be addressed, your highest priority is having a granular, detailed, specific, up-to-date understanding of your oxygen supply, oxygen production capability, and oxygen storage tanks. You must be able to accurately estimate the changes you must make to ensure survival. The problem is correctly estimating the length of time. The mistake most people make when dealing with a crisis is to be overly optimistic about the time period they need to be in survival mode. The default assumption we make is the problem will be rectified sooner rather than later, and therefore the adjustments and cuts that get made are not deep enough, particularly with our personal spending. The unhappy result is cash that could have been preserved to extend our life. If the problem goes on longer than estimated, gets consumed, and once the cash has been spent, it's gone forever. It's critical that you have extreme clarity about your financial status, cash reserves, and anticipated short-term cash forecast. Glossy, foggy, fluffy, gut feel generalizations are the enemy of clarity. Below are the 13 most critical key performance or KPI indicators and critical drivers required for optics on running your business during a crisis. You must be able to know and report on these 13 priorities. Number one, current cash balances. Number two, the amount of AR that can be collected quickly. What needs to happen to keep your AR current and current going forward? Number three, projected cash flow from operations, assuming the current environment remains as is for 3 to 4 months. So what we're looking for is sources of revenue and the expenses you think you'll have to incur in order to support that revenue. I would also recommend that you have a scenario that is for maybe 5 or 6 months. Number four, actual versus projected burn rate. This is your total expenses on a monthly basis. Number five, your current and projected variable and fixed expenses, both weekly and monthly. Number six, the payments that you're obligated for, like your loans and landlord and vendors that can be extended or delayed. Number seven, the source and amount of additional financing that's available to you. So this might be either from banks or friends and family, or it might be dry powder that you personally have on the sidelines that may have to be re-injected into your business to keep it alive. Number 8, any stray or unused assets that can be liquidated for cash. Number 9, the amount of your personal burn rate and the amount that burn rate can be curtailed to preserve cash for the business. Number 10, the excess baggage and fat that can be curtailed, delayed, furloughed, whacked in your expenses. I'm going to make a distinction here between fat versus muscle versus bone. Be very careful with cutting to the bone. Having said that, cutting to the bone is mandatory if it ensures survival, but be clear on how deep the cuts need to be to make sure that you're able to walk again once this crisis is over. Number 11, the expansion, growth, or capital expenditure plans that can be paused or delayed. Number 12, a detailed summary of all the adjustments you either have or will make and how these changes result in your survival over the next 3 to 4 months. Do the math and be really clear about your assumptions. Use milestones. In other words, if this only lasts another 30 days versus if this lasts another 90 days versus if this lasts 180 days. And finally, number 13, your communication plan with your team and employees about your plan and how it impacts them. Now, this communication plan is critical. And the reason it's critical is because it will dictate, to a large extent, the culture and how your team reacts to the culture that is in your business. I tend to say, look, being truthful about your plan and the reality is critical to maintaining the culture in your business. Here's the reality. If you can't devise a plan that sees you through the next 3 to 4 months, then you need to revisit your plan and make further adjustments or get more creative. And if that still doesn't work, then you must source and begin meeting with a bankruptcy lawyer, Chapter 11, so that you can understand your options and your choices. Depending upon your financial condition when we entered this crisis and the impact that it's having on your business, making sure that you have a full tool belt is mandatory. Chapter 11 bankruptcy is a business tool. It's a tool that can be very effective in the right circumstances, but it's also complex and has to be navigated and communicated effectively. But if bankruptcy is the only tool available to ensure survival, I would use it. Look, this crisis is going to pass. The problem all of us have is estimating how long it will last and then developing the plan accordingly. One of your primary jobs as the CEO and leader of your business is to execute. It's to plan and execute. Once you've made the tough choices, having the courage to execute your plan is mandatory. One of your jobs as a leader is to make the difficult choices and then have the candid conversations. I strongly recommend that you immediately start using a rolling 13-week cash flow forecast to help you get and maintain clarity about your true cash picture. Drop us a note and we can send you the format and detailed explanation on how to prepare and use a rolling 13-week cash flow forecast. This one tool could be the difference that makes the difference in the survival of your business. Here's our contact information on where you can write us or call us. And if you need more information about the rolling 13-week, or if we can support you in any way, we'd be happy to do it. I'm going to leave you with one thought. This is the bumper sticker. Your number one priority is not your previous growth or strategic plan. Throw those out the window. Your number one priority is to ensure survival, and that requires cash. This is Keith Cunningham. Manage the business end of your business. Make sure you have cash. Make sure you can ensure survival of the business.